Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear friends, this is Muhammad Rafiq Mukhlis, your teacher for the subject of International Economics. My dear friends, in this video we will be discussing the comparative advantage theory of international economics. These are the some learning references that you can refer for detailed information. These are the learning outcomes that after completion of this chapter we'll understand the gains from how trade can be gainful. We will also understand that how countries are different from each other in production capacity, and we will also understand how the countries will be specialized and what will be the gains from being specialized in production of a specific commodity. My dear friends, the comparative theory of international economics has been given by David Ricardo, who was born in the year 1772, and basically his father migrated to England shortly before David was born. David Ricardo was best known for his theory on wage and profit, labor theory of value, theory of comparative advantage, and theory of rent. My dear friends, David Ricardo was one of the main classical economists who was having almost the same mentality that Adam Smith had regarding having international trade. In the theory of absolute advantage, we studied that David Ricardo was against the trade barriers, trade restrictions. In the same case, David Ricardo also uh, extended a free trade argument. He was also in the favor of having a free trade between the countries. Based on this theory, it has been said that countries can import if the country is more efficient in the products production than country from which it is buying. Now it says if a country is more efficient, the country can produce more and more compared to the country it's importing or buying. Still, there is a logical reason that why the country can import, though it can produce better and more, right? And that concept will be clear in coming slides. That is the existence of opportunity cost. Now see the country will be considering its production and will be carrying on its production to see how much more efficient, right? If comparatively it's gainful, then the importation will be taking place. It says the main reason for the existence of international trade or the existence of trade between the countries is the comparative advantage, right? If importation of the commodity is comparatively beneficial than production, then the country can produce on the basis of the opportunity cost. My dear friends, some assumptions are there that which will make the theory more clear and understandable. Based on the comparative advantage theory that was given by David Ricardo, some of the assumptions are there. Like the first one, there should be two nations, two countries, and two commodities, and free trade should be there, and perfect mobility of labor will be there within the each nation, but immobility between the two countries or two nations. This statement says that the labor, which is considered the only factor of production, or we can say labor, which is considered the main factor of production, can be mobile within the country but cannot be moved from one nation to another nation. It says there is no change in the cost of production, no transportation cost, no technical changes. The technical production will be remaining the same. The labor theory of value, the value of output will be determined on the basis of the labor sacrifice or labor work on undertaken on its production. Now the question is that why would trade occur if one country had an absolute advantage in both goods? Now we said on the basis of absolute advantage theory of international economics, we said that the countries will be having trade with each other because they will be having absolute advantage in one of the commodities. Now, as we discussed that in the absolute advantage theory chapter, there were two countries which were India and Europe, right? Now we discussed that Europe was more efficient in production of machine compared to India, but India was more efficient in production of cloth compared to Europe. Now we understood that if Europe is more efficient in production of machine, then Europe should get specialized in production of machine, whereas India should be specialized in the production of clothes. Why? Based on the productivity of the labors of both of the countries got specialized in two different products on the basis of absolute advantage that they had. But now in this theory, we say that if a country is efficient in production of both of the commodities, then why the country should go for trade? This is the main question. But on the basis of comparative advantage, a comparative advantage is the ability of a country to produce a good at a lower opportunity cost than another country, right? First of all, we should be knowing what we mean by the opportunity cost. My dear friends, opportunity cost is the next best alternative that we forego, right? Or opportunity cost is the cost of an economic decision, right? For example, we can also say that if a country is having two options, for example, production of A commodity and production of B commodity. Now, if the country can produce a specific quantities of both the commodities. Now, if a country decides to produce A commodity, then it will be sacrificing production of B commodity. Now, if a country is producing one commodity and sacrificing the another commodity, this is what we mean by opportunity cost in production, based on the available limited resources. Now it says we compare the degree of absolute advantage or disadvantage in the production of goods. Now, what we are doing in this theory, we will understand the comparative advantage, not absolute advantage, right? Because we say if a country is having absolute advantage in production of both of the commodities, why it should be having trade. Now we will understand the country could be having trade, though it will be having absolute advantage in production of both of the commodities on the basis of comparative advantage. Yeah, there's just to remind you that countries can be gainful from trade. I've put this slide. My dear friends, here you can see in this slide that there are two countries and two commodities. My dear friend, country A is having the ability to produce 20 of X commodity or 10 of the Y commodity, and at the same time the country B is having the ability to produce 10 of the X commodity and 20 of the Y commodity. Now if we consider these two countries in the world, the total output for X commodity will be 30 and the total output of the Y commodity will be 30. The X can be car, the Y can be cloth. My dear friends, how the countries could be more gainful and how the output level can be increased with the help of existence of trade. Now let's say this was the scenario, the condition before having trade, that the world output for X was 30 and for Y was also 30. But what will happen if the countries may have a trade and they can be specialized in production of those commodities in which they are more efficient? For example, if a country X can produce 20 of X and 10 of Y, then what will happen if the country may just country A may just get specialized in production of the X? Now, if for 10 Y the country can produce 20 X, then the country can be specialized in production of X because it can produce more of X. The country will not go for production of Y. the available resource that this country is having, it should use it for production of X. Now what will happen then? If the country is sacrificing 10 of Y, then 20 of X will be added. Now here, after trade, after specialization, this country A will be specialized in production of X, that the production of X will increase from 20 to 40, and the country may not have any quantity of the Y, because it got specialized in production of the X, while country B is more better or more efficient in production of Y compared to country A. Now country B can produce only 10 of X and 20 of Y. Now based on the specialization principle, it will be more better for country B to be specialized in production of Y and purchase or import the X commodity from A. Now the country B will not go for production of the X, but it will just increase the production of Y. Now if the country can produce 10 of Y and 10 of X and 20 of Y, then if it may sacrifice 10 of X, the 20 of Y will be added. Now the country Y will be specialized in, country B will be specialized in production of Y, and country A will be specialized in production of the X. Now let's see, before trade the world output for X was 30, but after trade the world output for X increased from 30 to 40. In the same case, there was an increment in the production of Y, that increased from 30 to 40. Now the gains that we can see here from trade, that only for minus 10 we added or we got 20 of X, and for minus 10 of X we got plus 20 of the Y. My dear friends, for better understanding of the comparative advantage theory of international economics, let's have an example that will make it more and more clear. My dear students, as you can read and see in the example, that United States can produce 50 units of coal or 100 units of the iron, right? Now my dear friends, one point to be considered is the point OR. It means the production possibility curve or production possibility frontier of the US shows that if US may use its labor, we say labor is the main factor of production. We say if the US may use the resource, the economic resource, which is labor in this case, only for production of coal, it will be having the ability to purchase only 50 of that commodity. But if the country is going to produce iron by the available resource, then the country will be having the ability to produce 100 units of the iron. My dear friends, now here we can say that for each unit of the coal, the US can produce 2 units of the iron. Now the opportunity cost for the production of coal for US is 2 units of the iron. Okay, my dear friends, as you can see in the table here, that the country, based on the available resources or based on the available labor in the US, US can produce 50 units of coal or 100 units of the iron. My dear friends, here we will understand that what is the opportunity cost of production of coal for the US. Now if I say the opportunity cost of production of coal for US is 2 units of iron, right? Now here we will prove it that how this is possible, that the opportunity cost of production of coal for US is 2 units of iron. Now the opportunity cost of coal for United States of America is 2 iron. How? Look, now here you can see the US can produce 100 units of iron and 250 units of only the coal. Now if I say the opportunity cost equals, now what is the quantity of iron that in US can produce is 100 divided by 50. Now it equals to 2, right? What does it mean? It means if US is going to production of coal, for each unit of the coal US should be sacrificing 2 units of the iron, right? It again, I'm saying that the opportunity cost of production of coal for US is 2 units of iron. But let's see what is the opportunity cost of production of coal to another country. Okay, now here we have Germany, right? See, the Germany is having the ability to produce 20 units of coal or 30 units of the iron. Now look, based on the production possibility curve or production possibility frontier of Germany, right, it says that this country has the ability to produce 20 units of coal or 30 units of the iron, right? If the Germany will use its resource, its labor to produce coal, it can produce 20, and if it may use it for production of the iron, it will be having the ability to produce 30 units of the iron. Now we said that the countries could be gainful, from trade, right, on the basis of opportunity cost, right, which will describe the comparative advantage from being involved in trade. My dear friends, as we saw in the previous slide that the opportunity cost of production of coal for US was it was 2 units of iron for each unit of the coal. Now let's see what will be the opportunity cost of production of coal for Germany. The opportunity cost of production of coal for Germany is 1.5 units of iron, right? How is that possible? The opportunity cost of production of coal for US was 2 units of iron, while for Germany it is 1.5. How it's possible? Look, opportunity cost of coal in terms of iron. It says, look, if the country is having the ability to produce 30 units of iron or 20 units of the coal, how we to find out the opportunity cost? I just divide 20 units of the iron by 30 units of the iron by 20 units of the coal. Now it will be equal to 1.5, right? This is the opportunity cost of production of coal for Germany is 1.5, while the opportunity cost of production for US was 2 units of iron. Now, my dear friends, what we understand from this calculation of opportunity cost? My dear friends, if you remember, we saw that US had absolute advantage in production of both of the commodities. US could produce 50 units of coal, whereas Germany just can produce only 20 units of the coal. US had the ability to produce 100 units of the iron, while Germany is having the ability to produce only 30 units of the iron. Now we say that US is having the absolute advantage in production of both of the commodities. Why? Based on the available resources with US is more beneficial in both of the commodities, more capable to produce more and better of both of the commodities. But what is the logical reason that the countries may have trade to each other? Right? The logical reason behind existence of trade in such a scenario, in such a situation, is the existence of lower and higher opportunity cost. My dear friends, as we calculated, the opportunity cost of production of coal for US was higher compared to Germany, while the opportunity cost of the production of coal for US was 2 units of the while for Germany it is only 1.5 units of the iron. Right? Now, what is the reason that the country should have trade? The reason is that if US may focus more on production of the iron, it will give it more and more benefits instead of going for production of the coal. Why? The opportunity cost of production of coal for US is more compared to Germany. Now, the logical reason that the US will be benefited is, now here the cost of importation of coal from Germany to US will be less than compared to the cost of production, or compared to the opportunity cost of production of coal. Right? Or in more simple way, I can say that the gains, the benefits, the profit that the US could be having by the importation of the coal from US, that will be more than the production, more than if it may produce it by itself. Right? Now, in more simple, we can say that if US may produce coal, that may not be that much beneficial. Right? That may not be that much beneficial if it could be getting that benefits from producing more units of the iron. Right? And the cost of importation of coal will be less than cost of importation of the coal from Germany. Now here US can be gainful, can be more benefited by getting specialized in the production of iron instead of going for production of both of the commodities. Why? Because it may have higher opportunity cost. My dear friends, in this section you will understand the complete explanation of the scenario here. We said that United States has a higher opportunity cost, right, for producing coal. Why? United States should sacrifice 2 units of iron for each unit of the coal, whereas Germany would sacrifice only 1.5 units of the iron for producing a unit of coal. Though we understood that the US could be having absolute advantage in production of both of the commodities, but still the opportunity cost of production of coal is higher for US in terms of iron, right, compared to the opportunity cost of production of coal in terms of iron for Germany. Hence, it says it will be beneficial for US to get specialized in production of iron, and Germany will be specialized in production of coal. Why? For US, the opportunity cost is higher compared to Germany. Okay, trade in the Ricardian model, it says that the country can be more efficient in producing both goods, but it will have a comparative advantage in one only, right? As we discussed the case that in the case of Germany and US, that US could be more beneficial, more gainful if it may get specialized in production of iron. Why? Because the opportunity cost of production of coal was higher for US. Then US had the opportunity to import the coal from Germany and produce more and more of the iron. It says that even if a country is most or least efficient producer of all goods, it still can be benefited from trade, right? Now here, one of the advantages of this theory is that the countries that are not very specialized or very efficient in production of a specific commodity or commodities, still they can be having trade with other countries. Why? Based on the existence of comparative advantage, based on the opportunity cost benefits. Based on this theory, that we can be having two types of gains from trade, known as dynamic gains and static gains. By static gains means, what we mean by that? The static means the constant gains that we could be having. What could be that gains? From trade, or gains involved output that results from specialization. Now, if countries are getting specialized in production of a specific commodity, more and better output will be produced, right? The gain involves output, right? The production of commodities or production of the goods will be with higher efficiency. Production of goods will be more standard, right? Why? Because countries have been specialized in production of specific commodities. Now, if I'm specialized based on the available resources, then better quality, low price commodities will be produced and introduced into the world market. And the other is dynamic gains. What we mean by dynamic gains? By dynamic gains, the ever changing gains, the continuous gains. Okay, how the continuance or changing gains will be there from international trade. The gains will be there because of the trade, right? Why? Because trade induces greater efficiency in the use of existing resources, right? If we are getting specialized in production of a specific commodity, then the resources that we have will be highly efficiently with high efficiency be utilized, right? Or the resource that we have will be more and more efficiently used. And if the resources are used more and more efficiently, then the efficiency in the production will be there. These pictures are just representing the comparative advantage that countries can be having by being specialized in production of specific commodities. Okay, now we will understand a comparative study of the absolute and comparative advantage, productivity advantage contrasted. That was, in absolute advantage or absolute productivity advantage held by a country that produces more of a certain good per hour worked than other, right? Based on the absolute advantage theory, we studied that a country will be specialized in production of that specific commodity, that it can produce it more efficiently compared to another country, right? Or for example, if Indian labor was good in production of the cloth, Indian labor could produce more cloth compared to the European labor, then Indian labor should be specialized in production of the cloth, while European labor was more efficient in production of machine compared to Indian labor. Then European labor should be specialized in for production of the machine, right? But what we will understand by comparative productivity advantage or by comparative advantage held by a country that has lower opportunity cost or producing a good than its trading partners do. What it says, as you saw in the case of Germany and US, we saw that though US had absolute advantage in production of both of the commodities, but still the opportunity cost of production of coal was higher to US compared to it was to Germany. Hence, the existence of absolute advantage or the existence of lower opportunity cost will make trade gainful for the countries. Now it says that comparative advantage allows a country that lacks absolute advantage to sell its product abroad. Okay, this is one of the important benefits of the comparative advantage theory, that if a country is not having absolute advantage in production of a specific commodity, but in production of a specific commodity to supply it to the world, right? To supply it to the world, still it can have trade. Why? Because of the existence of lower opportunity cost. A country like US, suppose if it has higher opportunity cost for production of a specific commodity, then it will prefer to import it from another country. Even these countries that are not having absolute advantage in production of a specific commodity will get the chance to have trade and be gainful from the trade. Okay, my dear friends, terms of trade and gains from trade, right? What we mean by terms of trade is representing the ratio of receipts and the payments, right? Or it shows the values of the imported commodities and the value of the exported commodities. What does it say? It says that the closer the terms of trade are to one country's pre-trade price ratio, the closer the terms of trade are to one country's pre-trade price ratio, the greater the gain for the other country. Now, what does it mean? The level of prices that were there in the market before having trade, right? If there is not higher fluctuation and changes in it because of existence of trade, then the other country will be gainful from the trade. And the other, importance of being unimportant, right? It says when small countries trade with big countries, the small countries are likely to enjoy most of the mutual gains from trade. It says that if it is considered on the basis of the absolute advantage, then the small countries, poor countries, less developed countries will hardly be enjoying the gains from trade if they are having with developed countries. But as we mentioned before, the comparative advantage theory just make it possible that even small countries, even less developed countries or may get the opportunity to be gainful from trade. Now, if you make just simple evaluation of the classical model, that will be the model does not explain why differences in productivity levels between countries exist. Specifically, they are not clarifying the points that why the productivity will be existed. Though we said that the only factor of production will be labor, and why the difference will be existed. This is one point that they are lacking behind, and it makes extreme and unrealistic predictions, such as countries will completely specialize in the production of exportable commodities only, right? that is also not a real case, that the country will be specialized only in production of the exporting commodities, right? We understand that this is not a real case. This is not a real case that the countries will be specialized in production of exportable commodities, right? Domestic market has its own importance and it plays a vital role at macro level. Okay, it maintains that the gains from trade are greater between countries of dissimilar production technologies, despite the fact that most trade occurs between developed countries with similar technology and income levels. Okay, this theory says that if the country is having absolute advantage, or if the countries are different from each other on the basis of economic resources or producing capacity, then they will be benefited. But based on the current situation in the world, the countries are more gainful from trade, though they are having the similar technology. For example, the developed countries are having trade with each other, right? If developed countries are having trade with each other, though they have almost the same GDP, though they have the same ability in utilization of the technology, but still they can be gainful, they do have the trade with each other. Hence, this theory fails here to prove that the countries this is not a real case that the country will be having trade if they are different from each other, or if they are producing different commodities, or if they are having different producing capacity. Okay, but the classical model is useful tool. But what the benefits, that what are the reasons that make it beneficial? Say, it says it provides a motive for trade between developed and developing countries, right? This existence of absolute advantage and existence of comparative advantage, this will make it possible that even the developed countries will be having trade relations with the developing countries, and the developing countries will be having the opportunity to be gainful from trade. And also it explains why high wage countries may still benefit from trade even when faced with a slow wage competing countries, right? This is the reason that represents the comparative advantage benefits or comparative advantages that make the countries be linked with each other. Okay, this is the summary of the comparative advantage model. It is not necessary for a country to possess absolute advantage in order to participate in trade. What is required is comparative advantage in production. As we said, this is just not as absolute advantage. In this case, you should not be just having the absolute advantage in production of a specific commodity. To be involved in trade, you just need to have comparative advantage, then you can be having the opportunity to just be involved in the trade and be gainful from the trade. And the other says a country will specialize in and export that good in which it's a comparative advantage, right? Now then, this is not necessary that a country should be specialized if in a commodity if it has absolute advantage, right? Even countries could be specialized in production of those commodities for to be exported, and for which they are having lower opportunity cost compared to other countries, right? The terms of trade or world price will settle between the autarky prices of the two countries and is determined by the reciprocal demand, right? Demand will be the key player in settlement of the price level. Thank you so much, dears.